And another panel you'll be using very often is the model list panel on the left, this one. So here you will use to select, change, or place tiles in all the other entities. For example, I will place an object, this one. So as for the object we just played, it doesn't come with any properties, which means there isn't any collision effect or movement. And when you play it, it doesn't move, so it's a static object, which means it's just an image, more or less. So on the other hand, the monsters you choose from the monsters menu can move around when you place them. Here, see? But of course, the amount of damage when I attack them, and the recovery when the player gains items, etc., and all the other details should be scripted for ourselves and for each monsters. So in short, with empty projects, monsters come with default movements, so you need to configure the rest with the scripts. On the other hand, the objects are just more or less an image. And if you want to see more models at once, you can adjust the slider here. You can see more items at once. There are also NPCs right here. Since monsters right now doesn't have the ability to hunt or attack, the only difference between them and the NPCs are that NPCs don't move. And one other thing is that NPC comes with name tags at the bottom here, and you can also change the name. And I'll just type princess here, and you can also change those design right here. Oh, so I'll just change it to red. And they also come with chat bubbles in which you can type any messages. Let's see. Leave it like this. Okay. Feel more interactive. Anyway, those are the differences between monsters and NPCs. Next, for footholds, they are entities that come with foothold information. See, remember that I said the red lines indicate that you can walk on these areas. So the foothold information for the entity can be selected or edited here. So for example, if you want this to go through here, you can just edit it wherever you want. Yeah, as long as you want. And you can also add the foothold information to entities which don't contain the foothold data. For example, this was just an object, so it doesn't have a foothold information. So you can just add them right here, foothold component. And now you'll be able to edit foothold at the points here, wherever you want. Yeah, and drag them. And now you can jump on these. It's too big, so I'll make this smaller. See, now you can walk on them. Yeah. At first, you can never do this, but since you've added the foothold component, now it works. And next, so I've demonstrated how you can place the entities that come with default properties. In addition, there are other tasks such as BGMs here, so leather, rope, portal. You can try using all of them. This is the one that you saw on the decorate mode, right? And there are also background musics. You can select the background from this long list of backgrounds. Choosing it will completely change the atmosphere of the map. And the models here are categorized by their functions. And I bet you'll use some models more often than others. So these were the recent ones. You can actually make your own category here. Let's rename the group to favorites. And you can just add them by dragging here, just dragging them. Add anything that you think you'll need regardless of the category. And you can also select models at once. And adding a new group, creating a game with the models in the group will make the process much more efficient. And one more thing is that the entities here that you've placed on the screen will be added to the scene maker list. It's called hierarchy accordingly here. The hierarchy panel is used to check and manage the entities you've placed in the map. And this allows you to create some hierarchical relationship between the model. For instance, if I want to put all the monsters in one group, I can just move them into one monster, which means now when you select the mother component, you can move around everything at once, resize everything at once. Yeah. But if you click on the child models, you can move individually, but the mother won't allow that. You can also delete and rename and yeah, so forth. Now let me talk about Workspace. Say I just placed this object here. No, I mean it's an NPC. As you can see, this will get added to the hierarchy right here. So these are the corresponding elements. Let's place another one here. So you can see there's another one added to the hierarchy panel. Okay, and I'm going to make one more copy of it, a larger one here. What I want to show you is that the original entity here is this size, but for example, if you want to make a lot of copy of this size, it will be very tiresome for you to add this original one and enlarge it to the same size here and again and again and again. So if I wanted to reuse this larger version, I could do that by creating an original model of this larger version. Here, right click and say create model from entity. Now you can see that an object on the NPC added in our workspace. Now when I place this, the same size, the same entity of the penguin can be reused. So you can use this separately with this original model. So now this small one, the big one, and this middle size are all separate models. And you can always edit the size of the model itself here. Oh, wow, it's big, sorry. I'm going to change it to 3. Yeah, you can always edit the size of the model itself to place a smaller version. But anyway, that was a brief overview of models and entities, and we will talk about them in depth during our next session. So what you need to remember at this point is that this hierarchy panel provides you with the list of entities placed in the scene. And the workspace let you manage the things that make up the entire game, like a file explorer. Until now, we've covered a lot of things, so let's do a brief recap. There are a variety of models of MapleStory in the model list on the left. So they are not just raw resources, but categorized by its functions. And you can search and group and place the models wherever you want. And when you place the models, they are added to this hierarchy panel. And when you make this as a model, they are added to the workspace, where you can manage them like a file explorer. And you can edit the selected models or entities in this property panel, and you can change every details. Yeah. So that's how I would summarize it. Next, we will talk a little more about property before ending this lecture. For better understanding about property, I'll use an example. Let's say there's a tree here. I want to make this tree move. But if you look at the default properties the tree has, there's nothing much to do with this. So I'm going to add a tween component. Tween component is a short term for between, and this component is responsible for movements that automatically fill the gap between the starting point and the destination point. So if I set the destination point to 3 and decide whether the movement will be repeated or not, I can make this static entity move during the game. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, so you can see that the tree is moving back and forth. And so in other words, property is used to add attributes that previously did not exist. And for example, I'm also going to add a climbable component to this tree to make it climbable like the ladder or the rope we saw previously. And click play. See, now you can climb up to the top. Okay, so the tree was a simple static entity, but now it has the properties of a ladder. So this is what you can do with properties.